Hi everyone, and welcome to this short video tutorial about Schoology and kind of what we use here at Saugatuck Public Schools. Schoology is a learning management system, which is basically a system that allows us to communicate with students and students to communicate with teachers, as well as post assignments, gather materials for every course or class, and post or keep track of any assignments, updates, events, that sort of thing for every class that you might have. So we are going to be at saugatuckps.schoology.com, and you're going to log in, and you'll notice the first thing that we might have on our screen is the recent activity page, and that's very similar to Facebook. You will notice that it has posts or events that a teacher may have posted for all your courses. So this kind of encapsulates all your courses, all the information in terms of events or updates that a teacher might have put. You'll also notice on the right-hand side, there is an area that has overdue. So if you have overdue assignments, there's going to be a listing of that. Any reminders, as well as upcoming assignments or events, discussion boards, that sort of things are going to show up there. So let's go ahead and go to courses. Yours might look a little bit different than mine because I'm going to switch to a student view. So I'm going to click on this. And what's going to happen is it's going to look something similar to this, except you're going to have Saugatuck Public Schools icon or logo right up at the top left-hand corner. So this is just a sample of a course that you might come across, or that's going to be very similar to the ones that you're currently enrolled in. This video is just kind of going to go through some of the features of Schoology. It's not going to show you how to submit an assignment. Those are other videos that you can take a look at, or other assignments that you might have to work through just to get yourself more familiar with Schoology. But this will highlight some of the really great features about Schoology that we think are really important. Some of the things you might notice that are different if you've taken or used Schoology before in the past is here we're going to start out with materials. So in the last year and previous years, it's been up to the teacher's discretion to decide if we start with updates, which looks like this. Sorry, my internet's slow. So teachers a lot of times would start out their course page with an update, but we are all going to try to start to be more consistent and have a more uniform look. So you might find that your course starts with the materials page. And that's going to be our landing spot. You'll notice a few things about materials. It has a weekly calendar of agendas. So this will be a running Google document, a living document in terms that your teacher will be adding to it throughout the rotation or trimester. So if I click on that, this will be a great spot for you to find what's happening for the week. And if it doesn't show up down here, you can always click on the square with a little arrow, and that will open it up in a new tab. So it's up to you how you want to take a look at it. So your agenda might look something similar to this. In terms of, your teacher might have a little information about what's going on in the agenda, making some side notes or notes about how to interpret the agenda. But you should be able to see what week it is, the dates. It's important to know dates, so that way you have an understanding of when things are due. And then it should have a breakdown of what's happening daily. So you might notice like a lesson or focus area, assignments that are due, and then due dates over to the right-hand side. Please make sure that you look at this often, if not daily. It should show like what's going to be happening. It's a great way to reference, again, what things are due. Every course might be slightly different, but it should have the similar feel in terms of, let's say, hey, you're going to be watching a video and then doing some assignments. So again, this is going to be something that's going to be updated continuously, whether it's daily, if a teacher has to change their lessons from day to day because of maybe time constraints, or we didn't get to it at a certain class, your teacher will go ahead and change that. Otherwise, there'll be something that you can look at just kind of as a whole for the week to see what's going to be going on for the week. All right, so I'm going to go back to Schoology here. And you'll notice that you can always reference back to the materials area or the landing page by clicking on the categories on the left-hand side, or you can go right below the menu bar, and you'll notice that there's the course, and then kind of like adapt the folders or where you're at in terms of your materials and lessons. You can always click on one of those links. It's what we call breadcrumbs, or links to the depths of like where you're at in terms of the folders and units and things. So there's several ways to find your materials. You might also see in your materials instructor contact info. Your teacher might have put that. So if you're wondering what their office hours are, or their office phone number, or what their email is, you can always reference that, as well as you might take a look at their syllabus. You might also take a look at their lessons or unit folders. It might be by unit, it might be by week, but here you'll find all the materials for your lessons, or at least the digital materials for your lessons. You'll notice that it not only has assignments, but it might also have reading assignments or reading segments that they'd like you to read or watch that maybe aren't necessarily an assigned point assignment, but they'd like you to cover. So this is where you're going to find your materials. So you can take a look. Some teachers might have more information about what's in the folder. You can click on this little arrow here next to your folder, and it'll drop down all the things that are within the folder itself. So if you're looking at your agenda and it says, maybe my agenda says, hey, take 5 minutes to do the discussion board technology uses and work on Edpuzzle Schoology Rundown. That would be something that we might do in class, and then start exploring Schoology as the actual assignment, organize Google Drive, and email me. So those are kind of things that I want to look for in my materials folders for that unit. Most of your assignments will be posted on the upcoming, but again, there might be additional materials that your teacher wants to have you take a look at or find. So definitely go into your materials unit folders and take a look as well. Again, upcoming is only for assignments that have been assigned and not necessarily materials. So depending on how your teacher organizes that. And you can notice there's a whole bunch of different kinds of things in there. I've got a slide, or you might see some slides, or form, or video, an assessment, additional folders with information. So it's always important to look back at your materials unit folders for anything that might be in your weekly agenda or in what's happening in class. Another thing you might want to take a look at is updates. So your teacher might also do some daily updates or want to send out a reminder. This will be on your big feed area when we first started, but here are some updates that maybe I just want to remind my students that this is the first day of class, or this is some things that you might need. Underneath, updates is your grades. This is a perfect spot for you to take a look at what assignments have been assigned in terms of for points, and then what it all means in regards to comments that the teacher might have posted. If there's any missing assignments or things that maybe you're like, I can't find in the materials, I can't find in my calendar, grades area is a perfect spot for you in Schoology. So I'm going to take a look. You might have to click a few things depending how your teacher organized it. But this is an example of what the grades area might look like. In the grades area, it posts or lists all your assignments that the teacher posted. And here you will notice that all these links, all these assignments are clickable links. So it will send me right to the original assignment with all the explanation of what I need to do for the assignment. It also shows you when it was due and what time. So depending on the teacher, it might be a specific time frame that they have the assignment posted in terms of, like, let's say maybe they want it due before the beginning of class versus due at the end of class. So time can be posted as well. You'll also notice that here, you might have information about the assignment. So you'll notice that if something's missing, my teacher said that it's missing. It has the little octagon that also indicates that it's missing, and the person gave me a 0. Now, they may give me more information about if I can make it up, but you can find the correspondence or comments that your teacher posted on the right-hand side. You'll also notice that if there's a blank or a dash in there, it might mean the teacher hasn't graded it yet. So that will give you an indication that, hey, maybe it's just not in the grade book and it hasn't been sunk to PowerSchool. So take a look at those things. I know I like to send students to this area in their Schoology for the class because I oftentimes will do comments. I also want them to have a chance to take a look at a list of past assignments and current assignments. So that way, if they can't find it under upcoming or in the calendar, they can always reference it here. You also notice that if it is graded, it has the pointage here. And one other thing, a lot of times students ask, hey, Miss B, I can't find, or I don't know if I submitted the assignment. If you go into Schoology grades area, you'll notice you'll have this paper icon. And what that indicates is, yes, you submitted something. So hopefully it's the right assignment that you submitted, but at least you know on your part that you submitted something in for that assignment. If you're wondering, did I actually submit the right assignment? You can always click on the assignment link. It will take you to where you submitted the assignment. So maybe you submitted several times and you want to take what the last revision is. So if I take the last revision of an assignment I put in, and I can click on either one, your teacher will get the very last revision or version of the assignment you posted, and it will show you what you submitted. So that's what I submitted for this assignment. So if you're like, oh, that looks like the right way or the right thing I needed to do, perfect. I'm all set and good to go. And I don't have to worry necessarily about whether or not I handed in the right assignment from then on. And that way too, you guys can take control of, or at least know what you're submitting. And that way you don't have to wait for your teacher to respond if you are wondering if you submitted something or if it went through or loaded. So this will be a great way for that. And then the rest of the areas, mastery, sometimes you might want to take a look at that. I don't know how many teachers use that. Attendance, we take attendance through PowerSchool, so it's not going to show up in Schoology. And members, if you want to take a look at your who's in your class, you can do so there. Other information, if you're wondering what grading period this is, it gives you that time frame. So if you're double checking to make sure you're in the right course or classwork, you can take a look at that or see how long the class is. I mean, for middle school, in terms of is this a rotation or a trimester, you might want to take a look at that information. So I'm going to go back to materials and show you a few things as well. Some things you might want to be aware of is this right-hand side of Schoology where it has upcoming. You can find all your upcoming assignments posted here. And you can click on those links as well to see every assignment. Sorry, my page doesn't always show the refresh. Be aware that it does say when it says upcoming, it does show you when it is due. So like email me might be due on Tuesday, September 8th, 2020 at 10 a.m. So be aware that that's when the due date is. If it's past, meaning like let's say it's a past assignment and or you were gone and you don't see it under upcoming, you will have to go back into your overdue area, which might be on your main page. So if you clicked back on the Saugatuck Public Schools logo over here, you might want to see the overdue stuff, or you can go to grades. Or if you're somebody that likes to be more visual, you can always go back to your weekly calendar agenda and take a look at what's going on. Or you can look at the calendar. So there's a calendar icon here, which you can click on. And it shows you the calendar for that class. So you can take a look and see what's due. Sometimes it's easier to see based on day and date and see it more in a calendar format versus a list format. So this is really great in terms of saying, hey, if I was gone on Tuesday, I can click on this box, click on it, and it'll go right to the assignment. And I can say view item. Another thing that you might want to take a look at or notice up at the top here on your menu bar, there's multiple things of courses, groups that you might be associated with, resources. But one thing that I like to point out as well is there's also a calendar icon at the top. If you click on that, it will go to all of your calendars. It will usually default where it says all calendars, and it shows things that are due or assignments that have been posted for all your courses at once. So you might have if you're wondering like, hey, what's going on for Tuesday, and you want to take a look. Now, it doesn't always say like what exactly class it is. You might have to move your mouse around to kind of see what, well, that's for technology and that might be for English class. So be aware of that. But if you actually want to go then to up here and click on calendars, if you only want to see a certain calendar for a class, you can click on that. You can also change the colors. So if you're thinking, hey, I want to change technology class or information or assignments to be pink, and then I want a different class to be blue to show up on your calendar, you can do so that way. So that's another great way to see what's going on in your courses. Schoology is great in terms of showing things that are showing multiple ways of information. So that way, if you can't find it one way, you can always find it another. So in a nutshell, Schoology is going to be a great place for you to find all your class materials. It's also going to be a great place for you to find all your agenda or what's happening for the week. In your materials area, it's going to be a way for you to gather or keep track of all your materials for every unit for the class or section of the class, so you can find it right in one spot. And also keep track of what things are due, what things are overdue, and be aware of like what maybe your grades are or what things are missing, and finding comments about your assignments. If you have any questions, please make sure you ask your course teacher, or you can email any technology teacher or ask a peer. Hopefully you've learned a little bit more about Schoology, or were reminded about great things that Schoology has to offer, and enjoy.